welcome you to the Agony Booth, where we have faced technical difficulties, but we are, of course, rising above the fray. As our co-host with the most this extravaganza, this man that you know as Jason Rogasson is on vacation, we have tagged in. We have called what's called a hot tag, and we have brought in the individual from the Undiscovered Pod, the man who is so happy to be a guest on the show. He wore a tie. This is unbelievable. I guess he didn't realize where he was going, but we welcome Ken. Ken, welcome to the Captain's Quadrant, specifically in the Agony Booth. How are you, sir?
Joe, thank you so much for having me here. This is really great. This is going to be, I want to say fun, but it will be in a different way. So,
What the fuck?
Yes, this is going to be one of those like memorable moments where you're like, oh man, did I really sign up for this to join on a show that's pretty lively, pretty funny for such a slow episode? But yes, that is exactly what you did.
no, but you know something? I don't think it was slow. I just don't think it was good.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to hop into thanking our patrons.
We honor our Patreons.
Hollymac79, Johannes Borg, Chris Katulka, Denise Hill.
Yes. Thank you, folks, for being amazing patrons. Chris, if you are out there, hopefully your stickers, you're there. I have a chat thing. Hello, Holly. Hello, Mom. Hello, Damon. Hello. And I've got to say, hopefully your stickers will be there within the week. They should be there. Truth be told, this is going to be behind the scenes. So, Johannes, what's going on? Yes, a little bit of behind the scenes. We have new stickers that we are working on. They're going to be really dope. I was hoping they would be done before I sent you yours, Chris, but unfortunately they weren't. But you're going to get one anyway. So just you're going to get the ones that you're getting, and then you're going to get an extra one because you're that cool a guy. Ken, we are diving into an episode of the first season of Star Trek in the 90s. And when I told you, hey, we're going to do a Star Trek episode of the first season in the 90s, did you automatically roll your eyes?
Not necessarily, just because Next Generation made it into the 90s. So, but when you told me it was a Voyager episode, then things kind of went off the rails a little bit. But
like, I feel like all first seasons of Trek in the 90s is a rough start. I feel like the only first season of Star Trek that actually had a great first season, and people in the comments, you can fact check me on this and tell me I'm wrong if you will. But I felt like only Strange New Worlds had a very smooth first season. I think the hype behind having episodic weekly Star Trek, everybody was behind it and everybody loved the first season of Strange New Worlds. I felt that the first season of Strange New Worlds is maybe stronger than the second season. Let me know your thoughts.
All right, so I agree with you.
Ooh.
I think that Strange New Worlds, in a long time, it gave me a little bit of a reinvigoration, because I know that trying different things with Star Trek, throughout the years is fantastic, but I think at certain points, it's just the writing got lazy, and it wasn't because of different ideas they were trying to introduce. It was just because it seemed like it was too easy. It became like common science fiction tropes that were like kind of silly. I'm very like technical oriented. So when stuff just doesn't make sense because like I use the thingity thing to do it, and they kind of relied on techno babble at certain points. But I think that with Strange New Worlds, they're bringing it back to that original, liking the characters, getting to do some, character growth and building. And, I think that everybody's a good actor in that series, and they're paying proper respect to the original tradition. So, I think it works well for them. So I'm looking forward to Strange New Worlds. It was, the musical episode was kind of interesting. I know,
But
but
it was there.
it was, yeah.
Well, I want to just give us the synopsis of this episode before we go into first contact. So I don't have one written up, but I was on the key while we were keying you in, and I pulled up and enlarged because everybody knows that I don't have my glasses. So I enlarged it so I wouldn't have trouble reading the synopsis of season 1, episode 7 of Star Trek Voyager, ex post facto. Tuvok plays detective when Paris is wrongfully convicted by an alien race of murder. That pretty much wraps it up. All right. WTF did we just watch? Yes.
Could you smell that?
That's what the blur was for.
I got a little
warm. It was like last Tuesday. You're also in New York, so I know how hot it was for you. It was just as hot for me.
It was steamy.
It was steamy. We had to get blurred. We had to blur out a lot of stuff in New York this week. All right. So since you are our guest, I will just kind of I will go first. And I have to put this comment up. One of my favorite people in the universe is My Figure Universe, along with Holly, Joannis, Chris, and my mom, of course. And Jason, my co-host, and Jason, my friend in Australia. But this guy really nails me when I don't wear my glasses. Joe's glasses are lost in the Delta Quadrant. That is true. Okay. Joannis, you're one of my favorites. And I enjoyed the first season of Voyager simply because I had to wait a year to see it. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Well, I mean, I probably had to wait a year because I didn't have my glasses. I'm like, is that Star Trek? No. I didn't need glasses until Strange New Worlds season 2 came out. And that's when the doctor said, hey, buddy, congratulations. You've burned your retina on this eye. That's why you see in this brown thing. And you're going to need glasses. But we're not here to talk about my issues. We are here to talk about Star Trek Voyager. And we're here to talk about an episode that, to me, WTF did we just watch? We watched people with the weirdest headpieces trounce around in a plot that was so weak that I knew, she planned it because she wanted the money. And it's always that type of trope. It was one of the easiest tropes / murder mystery tropes that you'll ever get. Like, that's some Perot stuff, like 1975 scripts from Perot, if you guys are familiar, or for my generation, Murder, She Wrote plots. Yes, that's what this was. This reminded me of a Murder, She Wrote plot. And I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to introduce Tuvok as a sleuth or main detective. He is not Inspector Gadget. He is Batman, okay? And he ain't found shit. If you Spaceballs. Anyway, I just feel like this is the onset of trying to flesh characters out. And that's why I love filler episodes. And I would say that heavily this is a filler episode. And to have such a weak probably play out of how this whole thing came to be and how it was figured out, it just kind of was like, okay, very run-of-the-mill murder mystery. Ken, WTF did we just watch?
All right, so because this was the first season of Voyager, I'm willing to give it, a little bit of a pass because you're trying to figure out the characters. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And this was actually I think it was the first instance of them giving Nick Locarno his own episode. Matt, I keep calling him Matt, but
his name is Matt Locarno.
No, I mean, because giving Nick Locarno his own episode in the first season was an interesting choice. And what I did say to you in our contacts earlier was I felt that this story was similar to other stories that had been done in previous Trek seasons. So most notably in Next Generation, they did an episode called A Matter of Perspective. And it involved Riker, so you get a similarity between Paris and Riker of being, the young virile,
Hot
almost
shot.
second in command. Yeah, hotshot. Exactly right. Best pilot, because
Yeah.
weren't they both like the best pilot?
Yeah.
And then getting involved, because they were always the ego side of Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a similar type of setup. It was just tougher because I feel that Frakes did it better.
Mm.
He just seemed, I just, for whatever reason, I don't even know. I'm a fan of TNG first, maybe because that's how I came to it. So, but I felt that Frakes did it better. But it became very much like your typical kind of like noir type of mystery, and then it became a like a kind of like I said, like a mystery, and then I'm sorry. So it was just,
It's leaving a bad taste in your mouth. That's what I'm getting from this. It's just
I think it is. I'm having a hard time to figure out how to phrase it because I saw it before.
The agony is real. It makes me want to not go into this episode anymore.
it's yeah. I think, I mean, and then just with the bird heads, and like I said, I wanted to
bird heads
with what I said, like back in the day, there was a show, I said it before in our communications, Buck Rogers, back in like the early 80s. They had a character named Hawk.
Uh-huh.
And he had the exact same feather head, except they just decided to put a little bit more hair on it. So I think if you could look that up, it right away when I watched this episode again, I was like, okay, Hawk from Buck Rogers.
I mean, I felt like it was a weirder version as such because it just looked like really bad Photoshop. Like, I'm going to give you and Wes, what's going on? Hello. Good to see you. Ex post facto is one of
it was rough. I thought it was like, like how they have sparrow feathers and
yeah.
Like
totally
that's like, it made me think of a bird thing. And then the only thing I could think of was that exact character. And he had,
here we go. It looks
like that.
Like if you, when you use the cloning stamp tool wrong in Photoshop and you just keep going, instead of, maybe people won't notice. It's like, no, we're going to notice. And that's what he
Wait,
like
can you pull up one of Hawk from Buck Rogers?
Sure, I'll do that. Hawk.
Buck
Rogers and the 25th century.
Yes.
Right? That's the one? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I see.
Okay. Now let's look at the accuracy. Oh. Put that one up.
So
there's nothing to cancel.
So
what?
No, what happened was my if you say the words close to the Apple AI that reads everything, because you can call in tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and if you
did not know any of this.
Yeah, you can call in.
Sorry.
And if no, it's not your fault. It's my fault because I said words close together that resembled the AI name because of what I said when I found the image. It automatically said, how can I help you? And I'm like, cancel, and it's just kind of telling me to go away. But here we go. Here is Hawk from Buck Rogers.
This is what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like when you brought it up in our chat, I was like, oh yeah, totally. There he is. Yeah, totally. I mean, I felt like this costume's a lot better.
Yes. Yeah. Just an angrier version.
Yeah.
Is what I think it is.
Totally agree.
But look, I mean, they got angry and they tried to execute Tom Paris because they wanted to sell weapons to their enemies. I mean, you know, what are you going to do about it?
And I felt it was so weird that they spent so much time on the murder mystery and not the political. Star Trek's known for its political themes. And how the worlds and other universes and other planets deal with their own political strife, and arms trades and embargoes are constant all over the place. So I assumed, okay, we're going to get a little bit more of that. No, they leaned into that murder mystery. That the problem with the two societies was like total B plot, and I felt like that section was more interesting because I'm not a big fan of the look of the Starship Voyager. It's not one of my favorite ships. It's not a terrible ship. It's not a great ship. Not one of my top 10s. Probably not even a top 20. I'd probably prefer the Discovery Voyager version instead of this one. But when it was battling out in space and then it turned and started firing, and I was like, you know what? The ship looks pretty good. It's starting to warm up on me. You know, having to rewatch, it kind of made me realize it looks a lot better now. And I kind of wish they leaned on more of the effects and what it was doing in the political strife of the two species that were the bird people and not the bird people. Let us now thrust ourselves into our next section. Yes. Why would they do that? Why do you think we went into some political gander and a murder mystery in Star Trek? Ken, take it away.
Oh, no. So, look, this was, an attempt to do what had been done before in other Star Treks, I feel. Just like I can't help keep going back to that past episode because it was very much similar. You have one group, there's some kind of like political intrigue. They're trying to sell a weapon system to another group, and they seem to use the Federation as a way to confuse the situation or to get the deal done, a way to use them as interference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. It's a theme that's been used over and over again. And when I did some research on this, they kept coming up with this idea of the, I think it was like a Kurosawa movie, Rashomon,
Mm-hmm.
where they keep presenting the same story from different viewpoints. And with the TNG one, it's like 3 different viewpoints. With this one, it's like 4. But the part that makes it such an agony is that the dog decided to make the final decision. So
Yeah,
that was kind of what I laughed, and then I cried.
yeah. I mean,
and then I said, "Why did Joe do this to me?"
I mean, part of me is glad that we got this episode because, it featured a dog. And as you've seen in person, because you joined us in Trek Long Island, we have our own mascot dog that kind of
No, please do not compare that beautiful thing that you have, that beautiful member of your family who's so lovely, to that whatever that hairless rat thing was. Please.
Well, I
your
mean,
baby is beautiful.
Well, we had some issues with Teddy in the past, but it's all resolved now, right, Teddy? So what you don't know, he's saying a prayer. No, what you don't know is
I thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Teddy.
Oh my goodness.
I hate Teddy.
A little bit of behind the scenes. So last year when we did Trek Long Island, we interviewed the Voyager's Ethan Phillips. Teddy, of course, host with myself and Teddy's handler to Jason and Jason. And Teddy spent the whole time, everybody was awake, just barking at them. So we got a lot of this demon dog stuff rolling around here. But yeah, he spent the whole time. But
he's great.
Yeah.
I loved him. He was such a fun time.
He was.
Yeah.
He was great. He had his captain's uniform too. I was trying to find a photo of that. I'm pretty sure I have that somewhere in the download world. Yep, here it is. Teddy was loving the attention. That's his favorite thing about conventions is Teddy will show up and steal your heart. There we go. There's Teddy. He was waiting for you to.
Oh my God, he was so good.
Or sign up for Bruce Horrick's Indiegogo campaign. Yeah, Teddy was a lot of fun, and if he
would have accused Tom Paris of murder, I would believe it.
Yeah, Teddy was a sweetheart. Teddy was a sweetheart.
That was it.
That's
That was it.
convincing.
It was the dog that made the difference. It
Yeah,
was at the
yeah.
end. I just couldn't. No,
Yeah,
forget it.
yeah. For me, why would they do that? I feel like they wanted to, they'll lean on some things that were already storyline wise, not particularly for Voyager, but in the essence of the story itself, brought up in the past series. The whole murder mystery plot was a way to kind of give Tuvok a time to shine, Tom Paris a time to shine, because Tom was kind of nervous because they had this whole thing where they could penetrate your mind and make you see a vision of the future, and this is how we can get our court case solved, because we can go in your mind and replay your memory of what happened. But little did they know it was a kind of like a holodeck scheme, and they falsified the document, so to speak. Even to the point when, and I thought this is going to be in our later segment, when Tuvok did his own digging, it even fooled him. So I thought that was incredible, because Vulcans have the quite interesting ability to be sort of telepathic with their fingers. It's an evolved species thing. And I thought that it was very interesting that they were able to deceive him. So we will get further into that when we get to that point in the show, which is called Redeeming Features, which is a Voyager-based segment. So it's kind of full circle here. The interesting thing with the dog, I feel like that was somebody's dog on the set, and they were like, you know what? Let's do what we did with Spock back in the day, and let's just put a little mohawk on the dog, and then boom, it's an alien dog. And everybody's like, okay, it saves a budget. So I think that's why they did that. I do not behoove them, and I do not cause them any grief on those choices, because if I could get Teddy to do the same, I would, and I would make a profit off of Teddy, because in my heart, I sometimes think Ferengi, and I'm like, well, how am I going to make a profit off of this? So I would not mind doing that. And I think that the actress that played the love interest for the old scientist, as well as Tom Paris, and we're talking about these old scientists, I felt like she kind of was hamming it out. I feel like they were trying to bring up this noir-ish story, and it was like the way they dressed was almost 1920s, like a Great Gatsby-ish type of setup. It's just that they had bird head things on their heads, like babushkas that were bird. And I thought it was an interesting choice. Would I have done that? Probably not. But it was a choice, and the choice was made. All right, now let us hop into redeeming features. Yes, redeeming features. Dink. This is the story of a girl. No, this is the section of the show where we talk about the things that we feel were reasons for you to go back and watch this, because it was worth the watch, even in a small bit. And for me, it was the alien ability to fool Tuvok's mind meld. I thought that was a good concept. Because, if you think about it, every mind meld that we've had some experience with in the course of the history of the 40 years of Star Trek at that time, somebody always, the Vulcans would mind meld and they would know everything. Like that's how they figured out in Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, that the Vulcan was kind of fooling Spock. His student, his protege, was deceitful and lying, and he found out the truth by the Vulcan mind meld. So we had always seen, the Vulcan's putting his fingers in your mouth, it's over, in your face, it's over. Like you're gonna get to the truth. So I thought that was an interesting concept where they were able to kind of bypass that, and it worked out. I also thought it was really cool for the opposite species to kind of look more lizard-like. They were less bird-like people, more like lizard men. And of course, that plays on the conspiracy theory that the lizard people are running the planet right now. And I don't know. And I'm not really a big conspirator, but you could be a conspirator if you join our Patreon At the initial level, it's the $2.99. You get a free sticker, you get a big thanks, and you get the early access to our podcast and special videos that are made specifically for Patreon. If you want to become a patron, do so by clicking the link below in the podcast notes, and be sure to sign up on your computer. That way, sorry, my figure universe. I know your computer. If I say that word, it'll set off your Alexa, but I don't have an Alexa, so I can go Alexa, Alexa, Alexa. And if you join at the conspirator level, you get an early access to this very podcast. If you missed it live, you get the audio version for first years only right away. In fact, right after I finish this podcast, I will push out the audio. So that's how wonderful this technology works these days. So, yeah, I don't really believe in the conspiracy theories as much. There's some things that, yeah, maybe make sense, but lizard people is a bit of a stretch. But seeing them on Voyager was like, maybe. So, and that's a highlight. We got some great shots of the ship. Robert Picardo, even though he's on for basically the intro, outstanding actor. And every time he's on the screen, I feel like Robert Picardo just jump on and steals the show. Love Robert Picardo. So, what are your redeeming features?
Okay, so there's two of them.
Oh,
Right.
just two.
All right, so the two that stand out, there are others to lesser degrees, but the two that stand out. First one, you mentioned it, when Robert Picardo is the doctor is trying to figure out what his name is. And it's great in that Cass is almost trying to like teach him how to be sentient or teach him how to think. And I thought it was a beautiful scene between the two of them. And he's going through the names that he respects and reveres. And I think it was very funny that when she's saying, which doctors do you revere? And he's like, doctor, and he's saying names. And then he says Spock.
Yeah.
Which is funny because anybody that grew up like in the 70s and 80s who had parents that watched Star Trek but didn't really watch Star Trek would call him Dr. Spock.
Very true.
And then the guy came out with the baby book that was Dr. Spock. In the 70s, there was a Dr. Spock.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That did like a book on how to like take care of newborn babies, you know, and it was just like commonly known knowledge about how to, you know, take care of a baby, but he just compiled it and put out his name as Dr. Spock. So it further confused everybody because it was popular at the time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fun and endearing. And then at the end, when, you know, when Locarno goes to Tuvok and Tuvok is sitting alone and, you know, drinking his tea and, you know, at the epilogue, that he sits down and he's like, hey, you know, you helped me out. Thanks. And he's like, I didn't help you. I just, you know, I looked at the truth of the matter and, you know, like if you were guilty, I would have gone at you.
Yeah, that was a great point.
Right. And he was like, you know what? You really don't seem to make a lot of friends, but, you know, I'm your friend now. Because just the idea that he's like, this is the same thing that this is why every time I'm not going to not stop mentioning Data for every time I appear on a Star Trek podcast or no, any kind of content with Star Trek. Data. Anyway, it's the same thing that he will be that even keel that you need. And he's like, if you were guilty, I would have gone at you the same way, but you weren't. And then he's like, all right, I can trust you.
Wow.
Because you'll be even. And again, being the first season and then doing like the initial character development, knowing that like Tuvok is like the guy that, you know, you'll go to him if you need like a more or less objective opinion. I don't know if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
As much
if you want fair and balanced, you know, without being a commentator, you're going to get it from Tuvok. He's the man. He is definitely the one who's going to give you the truth. No ifs, ands, or buts.
So I thought that was beautiful. Just that friendship getting built at the very beginning. That I thought was at the end when I saw that, I said, why didn't you do this through the whole thing? Yeah. So, yeah.
It's probably a ratings thing because this probably didn't get the praise that it was so justly deserved. I know Wes is probably like, no, that's not good. This is a great episode. I know Wes is a fan of this episode. Wes, if you're still here, chime in because we're going to be spinning the wheel and heading into Aftermath right after that. So that's your moment to shine. So Wes, hop in. And there's some really good information about Dr. Spock coming up too. So be sure to stick around for that. But yeah, the whole thing that it reminded me of was the Data Geordi connection. I saw that, and when you brought up Data, and I was like, oh yeah, Data dressed up like Sherlock Holmes, and Geordi was his Watson, and this kind of reminded me of that. Like, you know, Tuvok was Sherlock Holmes, and Kim is, you know, Ensign Kim was Watson because he was like in the background going, oh, I saw stuff, and I don't feel so good. You know, can I get a promotion? No. But I feel like that's what they were trying to do, is trying to kind of hit those member berries for people that really enjoyed that part of Star Trek, because his battles with Moriarty and the holodeck were kind of legendary, and a lot of people really dug those. And I feel like that's what they were going for there a little bit too. And the true to justice of Tuvok also reminded me a bit of Odo, because Odo was always about being true to justice above everything else. And he didn't have time for your games, Quark. So I really appreciated that as well in this Star Trek Voyager. But now we have a duty as to set up the returning Jason Roygaston next week. I get to text him when he returns. What episode of Star Trek are we watching? Now, I haven't updated the wheel, ladies and gentlemen. So this episode is still there. So if it comes up, we'll spin again. But if not, let us go and head forth. Do so shall with the Wheel of Agony. We spare no expense here. Squadron. All right, so we've got some really good ones. Now I have this on my second screen. We've got The Sanctuary. We've got A Man Alone. We've got Holly Mac 79's Hollow Pursuits. I think, Johannes, you owe us an episode because you have an option. So yours.
You have the Inner Light on there?
I hate that episode. That is one
really?
Yes, my least. This is the secret of Joe Dove. Don't bore me. It's a Star Trek. I like good episodes if you have great dialogue and you really push my hardtails, great. But if you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna play a flute, I'm not gonna dig it. God, here we go. Not for me. And yes,
but he's old and he wears a wicker hat.
Yes, he wears a wicker hat, and they did the same wicker hat at the last episode.
I mean, come on, and all the bacteria in the soil is dead. Come on.
Yeah, that was.
It's fun. It's fun for the children.
No, and you know what it is? The last time I watched that episode, I was the children. And on my rewatch, I skipped that episode. I've never watched it again. I've watched it once. And it's like, nope, sleeper, and I skip it. That's my all right. So
no, I get it. I get it. No, I get it.
So there's some episodes that are good. Like Holly Mac picked Hollow Pursuits. I like that episode. I'm not sure if that's one that she hates, and that's why she chose it. And if you become a patron, like Holly and like Joanna Borg is about to, and like Chris Katolka will be, and Denise. She also has one. Like those fine folks, you get to choose an episode in your social media hang tag or name tag or whatever it's called. I'm older. I don't know these things. You will be on our Wheel of Agony, and our Wheel of Agony is going to get another face. Another Klingon is going to join these two fine warriors here on the Wheel of Agony to bring us agony. All right. Without further ado, let us go. So Hollow Pursuits from Holly's Hollow Pursuits. That's one I like. I do like A Man Alone. I don't really hate that one. But Inner Light is purple. And, sometimes we get to these ones that are like, some of these are good, some of these are bad. And so from henceforward, the next folks that join the Patreon, you get to choose an episode that goes on the wheel with your social media hang tag, name tag, whatever. Let us spin. Here we go. And it's the whole reason why you become a patron. And stop. The Last Outpost. The Last Outpost. This is Star Trek: The Next Generation. The Enterprise makes a confrontational first contact with the patriarchal Ferengi. Oh, this is the one with Armin Shimmerman, right? As they race, the two ships are ensnared by a presumed dead planet, ready to judge them. Interesting.
Isn't this this is the first appearance of the Ferengi.
Yes,
So
indeed.
this is when they have the paralysis whips.
The paralysis whips.
Yes, that was. I wish they would have done that better.
Yeah,
it was done very badly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like Armin Shimmerman, and I thought they were supposed to be a menacing species, so I thought that was an interesting try.
I think it's funny how you said, like, oh, this is the one with Armin Shimmerman. Isn't every Ferengi episode the one with Armin Shimmerman?
There's a couple of the Voyager ones don't have Armin Shimmerman in it, that's for sure. All right.
But it was great. I liked how they presented them in the first
let's get into
appearance.
That section.
Okay, sorry.
Here we go.
Sorry.
We were just talking about you. Everybody hates you. Congratulations.
Yes. All right. That's a fun one. Go ahead. Tell me what you were saying, and then we're going to get into the comments because we got a lot of stuff here.
No, it's just the original appearance of the Ferengi. They were a lot different. I like the idea that, what was it? They're I know their ears are more sensitive tactily, but it seemed like to noise they were a little more sensitive, and they seemed a little bit different as a species than they became later on. You know, where they were just like humans with big ears who liked money.
I mean, there was a couple, like the one after this when they were. I think that we did that too. That's the one where they kidnapped the Troys, Waxana and Diana.
Yes.
And that one was cool, which happened to be played by that was our lead up to Trek Long Island last year, because that happened to be Ethan's first time in Star Trek. He was a Ferengi the first time he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek, so he was the mad scientist, and he did a really good job. He was very scary, actually. It's like that's not the same guy that's Neelix. He's too mean. You know, definitely different eyes on that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I just feel. Look, I mean, please don't anybody hate me. I'm not the biggest Voyager fan.
Oh.
I just I'm like a Next Generation guy, and that's why I found, like, you know, this episode, while it had, I mean, I felt the few character building moments that it had were fantastic, but you know, I've seen it done before with other Trek, and you know, that's where we'll go from that.
All right. Well, let us hop into the comments. Let us say hello to Damon. To be or not to be? And of course, my mom answers, that is the question.
Do we have to say that in Klingon? Because I know
it sounds so much better in the original Klingon.
Yes.
Johannes says, happy Friday, everyone. Johannes, it's so good to see you. We're missed you last week. Glad you were able to join us this week. Happy Friday. And welcome to the CQ. That goes for you, Ken. Welcome. Chris.
Thank you.
Live long and prosper. Directly to Cosmic, I just wanted to let you know that since I've gotten to meet Joe in person, you did a spectacular job raising him. Don't give her any more props. Her head is already bigger than mine. No. Yes, my mom was a good mom. She did right by me, and I don't do the drugs, and I am high on Star Trek. All right. Holly Mac, hello, and hello there. Yay, stickers. Yes, they're coming. Be sure. Oh wow, Johannes, I'm hoping you're feeling better. You were sick for the last two, so hopefully you are so much better. I am glad to be. It was rough for a bit. Wife almost dragged me to the hospital against my will. Sometimes wives just have to do what's right and take you to the doctor for shots. Yep. You got to do it. Cosmic Mom says, you married a good woman if she forced you to take care of yourself. That's very true. Figure welcome. I enjoyed the first season of Voyager simply because I had to wait a year to see it. I'd like to know more about that, because I pulled that up earlier. Why did you wait a year? Were you so involved in Deep Space Nine that you just skipped Voyager, or did you guys not have UPN? Curious. Johanna said, I just started Strange New Worlds on episode 6 so far. Okay, don't leave us hanging. What do you think? And when you're done, because you're kind of new to the Captain's Quadrant, you got a whole season of the Captain's Quadrant to go back and watch. Chris Katulka says, Prodigy was strong enough for people to want more after Paramount canned it. That's true. That had a good, strong first season. And it's mainly because of the second half of the first season, I would say. What do you think, Ken? Did you watch Prodigy? Or
So I only watched a very little bit of Prodigy and a very little bit of Lower Decks. And for right now, Lower Decks kind of wins out a little bit just because it seems like it's more fun.
Oh, interesting.
And the only thing of Prodigy that I watched, I said I only watched a couple episodes. It was one episode, and it was the Mirror Universe Janeway Chakotay episode.
Yeah.
And it was just, I guess it's like just what it is. It was so truncated. It was so short. A lot of stuff thrown in. Didn't make a lot of sense. He wore shoe polish or ash to disguise himself as Mirror Universe Chakotay. It just seemed like too dumb. Sorry. I just felt that Lower Decks was not trying to be serious, whereas maybe Prodigy was trying to be serious but not getting it, and Lower Decks was treating it like fun, and they mark a little bit better. That's kind of how it seemed to me, but I haven't watched enough of either series to give a valid commentary, so ignore everything I just said.
Wow. Well, if we ever dive back into either one of those, we'll have you on so we can flesh out some more of that. Wes, he says, X post facto is one of my favorite early Voyager episodes. Wes, what made you like this episode? I'd like to hear more about that. Yeah. I have the same problem with my Alexa because I said, and it came on. And the reason why I have that capability is because you can call in. So this is the reason why we brought that up. Right now, you can call in at 347-565-5375. There's a lot of fives in that, but you can call right now. And if you have anything that you'd like to add or say anything, you can definitely get us to respond and speak with us live on air. You like long.
That is true.
That is true.
That is true.
Look how
Enterprise
lovely.
J, right? Wasn't it the
No, J was
that
terrible.
the nacelles were like
the E was the long nacelles one. I really liked the E. I thought the E nacelles were great.
Wasn't the J like the generational ship?
Yeah, no, you're right, because the J just seemed like the nacelles were small, but it's only small compared to
they were huge.
Like, the nacelles were the size of the Enterprise E.
Yeah.
The E, the D was big saucer wise, and then the nacelles were kind of small, but they at least balanced. And then Voyager went the total opposite way, where there was just like ship, and if you ever put it out, it would just go, because it just wasn't balanced.
And that's why the Defiant is great, because like 50% of the ship is nacelles.
Yeah, it's like built in.
It's like, it's just all engine. It's just all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. Yeah, I mean, all right, it's a wrestling thing. I'm sure Jason Gas is going to work with this. Like, what's wrong with you? Yes, I do like long nacelles. Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Teddy was very nice to me. Yes, Teddy liked you a lot, if I remember.
Teddy's the best.
Yeah, Teddy had a great time. You always say Teddy's handler. Did you hire someone just to take care of your dog? In a way, paid with hugs and kisses, and some pizza. But yeah, in a way. Oh yes, we love Holly Mack. We love Teddy. Teddy's the best. My figure universe. What crazy people believe? Yes, we're talking about the lizard people. They sure do. They also have to wear red hats. Anyway, my figure universe says, in a way, Cass and the Doctor were both children.
That's true.
Learn from each other. Interesting.
That's true. That's true.
Great point. That is a great.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah. Mr. Katulka says Dr. Spock was earlier than the 70s. He was mentioned on I Love Lucy in the 50s. Wow.
See, I told you there was that thing.
Yeah. There it is. Chris, nice deep cut.
Thank you.
My Freak Universe says this is true, but I think he was referencing to the fact that it had been added to the confusion between the two, both Doctor and the character, and how people would interchange the names. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're wondering how I'm able to read this so well with no glasses, you should see how large this is blown up on my computer. Anyway,
no, but that was the point. It was so confusing, and it was because mostly our parents were introducing it to us because it came on at that time. So they had the Spock, Dr. Spock, and you're like, no, it's Mr. Spock.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah. Tuvok had much less suspicious demeanor compared to Odo, though. Yeah, this is Odo's, like, you're used to Vulcans with the pointy ears. You're like, okay. But Odo's face was like kind of squarey and very jagged. So it was difficult for you to kind of connect with Odo in the beginning. But after episode like 7, I kind of had this thing where I'm like, I like Odo. He's like a good uncle. What are you going to say?
So, you know, I always felt that like the Vulcans, they were always kind of like cleanly like, you know, standoffish, I guess, in a way that they would just say something, that was it. Odo was very gruff. He always had an air of threat to him.
Correct.
That a Vulcan did not.
Good point.
That's kind of how I felt the difference. They were both still matter of fact, straight to the point, but I think Odo had a level of threat to him that a Vulcan did not.
Yeah, because he could be anything, not just.
It wasn't that, you know what? I don't like how they handled that, just because I came from, at that time, I was going to college for engineering and doing a lot of physics. And the idea that Odo looked like he could change the amount of mass that he had disturbed me.
Physics!
Yes. That he could be, you know, whatever, almost 6 feet tall and 180 pounds and then become a teacup.
Yeah.
That I was like, that must be the heaviest teacup ever.
Yep, totally. That's physics, baby.
I'm sorry.
But this is the thing that I got to say about your physics is based on human planet Earth physics. When you start to go to other dimensional and other planetary systems, the rules of physics change. Now, I'm not saying I study physics to the point where I can say that on this other planet.
No, but they were in the same.
I didn't even get.
They were in the same plane. But they were in the same plane, so the same physics. I understand that if you go to an other, you know, whatever dimension, reality, that physics can be different. But Odo was in the same, you know, plane, unless you count the wormhole as, you know, something that switched things. So,
or just, I mean, when he went in, because he's from the other quadrant, so maybe something to do with them. Anyway,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode, the physics of the wormhole.
Yeah, wormhole physics. Yay!
You got 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. The Inner Light is one of the greatest episodes ever to put yourself to sleep to. If you want to knock the kids out, you put that one on, the kids are out. You know, that is absolutely 100% true. LOL, I'll pick to add one of the end once the weekend is over. Okay, great. Just hit me up on any one of the socials, or we're very approachable, or you can hit us up on the Patreon, which is patreon.com/Captain's Quadrant. Katulka says, I enjoyed that one. Made me cry. Oh, yeah. Made a lot of people cry, especially those that play the recorder.
The inner light.
Inner Light. Yeah. That's the Inner Light.
Okay. I just felt the end of it was kind of tragic.
I don't remember. I just remember.
Well, just the idea that the planet was dying and, like, you know, the soil couldn't produce bacteria to grow plants anymore, and they were all going to just slowly starve to death. Like, it was tragic, but I understand what you're saying, though. Not a lot went on.
Mm-hmm. It would have been a little bit better if the soil turned into a man and started to fight Picard. No, and then Picard had to go. Yeah. No. There's a million reasons why that's a great episode. I know people think that it's one of the best, and you know it's okay. But
isn't it the soil that came to life that killed Tasha Yar?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the best episode. Well, okay. Now I see you have Fury as a green, and that is absolutely one I hate. Okay. Color schemes are off because it replaced an episode that was good, which was Will You Hold My Hand, which is the season finale of Discovery. So the color schemes have to be updated on the Wheel of Agony, just to FYI. So that's actually going to be red next week when I make sure that's all fit and corrected. That is that's a skippable episode. Yes, Inner Light sure is. Let's see. You can hate on the Last Outpost all you want, but if you play Star Trek Resurgence video game, which is currently 75% off on stream, I feel like you're kind of plugging something here, bud. You'll have a whole new appreciation for that episode. I mean,
the last Star Trek game I played, like, I still have a membership to STO.
Oh, wow.
And I actually bought a lifetime membership when it first came out. So I like keep going back in
and forth,
every
yeah.
now and again. And I mean, other than like a couple of VR games, I've never heard of like a substantial Star Trek game coming out.
Oh no, there's a ton. They even expanded some of the other stuff. There's a mobile game that's really popular. I think maybe that's what he's talking about. Let me know, my figure universe, that's what you're talking about. The paralysis rips do make a return in Star Trek Enterprise. Interesting.
They do.
Joanna says, and early on they seem to be more aggressive and warlike before the growth into becoming the most shady merchants. Yeah, they certainly do. And I think I'm getting my answer to why I didn't watch the first season of Voyager. Our local TV affiliate did not have Star Trek Voyager or UPN channel. Ooh. So my aunt and uncle in Indiana recorded it for me on VHS and then sent me the tapes the first season was finished. You must have some great old school commercials on there. I would love to watch those videos that you have.
That's how we used to get old anime stuff. That we would go to local comic book conventions and guys would have had VHS tapes that they recorded off like Japanese TV when they were like overseas for like a few months.
Wow.
That was exactly the same thing that they that's the best way. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, those days are gone, but that was so much fun to get media in those days.
YouTube
that way.
clips. Yeah. Johanna says, for Strange New Worlds, I really like it so far. Oh, good. We got an answer to that. They began strong with the character growth and having a backstory. It made the initial reluctance to go back to Starfleet make sense. Oh, okay, cool. And you did call in before. We appreciate that. If you are another listener, I know.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, the J was a generational ship with the largest.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. It just seems small because the whole front of the ship was so massive.
He's like, it was like bigger than a number of planets.
Yeah, that's what it was. It always tripped me out, but I do like the design of the J, and I like that.
Yeah.
Was it transparent aluminum? It's dope.
Well, no, I think that was one of the designs that they did later in Discovery, where the nacelles are not attached to the fuselage of the ship.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Yeah,
Discovery ships are cool. The Defiant is the greatest ship in Star Trek. Well,
that's what I use in STO all the time. I use a Defiant class, and the amount of forward-facing cannons are ridiculous. It's just, I mean, so much. Like the DPS is insane on the Defiant class ships. I'm sorry, I'm talking.
No, it's great. We love starships. It's one of the things that brings us all together. Yeah. I'm on the fence, so I'm gonna be trying to clear out space, and I'm thinking, they're gonna sell my Playmates Defiant, which is boxed and it's wrapped, so it's like brand new, or my Playmates TOS ship. So one of the two are going to be sold. You can find out later. I'll do like a little thing. This is Joe's Joe Dove's Go Dove. You can buy all the Joe stuff because it's gotta go. My figure is, Joe, the best way to avoid large fun on your computer is wear your glasses. We've become friends. You've insulted me. Yes, I love it. I'm sending hugs over the internet. Yes, everyone liked that one. Jonas, I had the air of threat. Plus, he would usually blurt out a crime scenario, the accusation of his Odo, only to show that he was onto the perpetrator. Yes, very true. And I'm not plugging. I'm just trying to advise people that's a really good deal for a really good game. My Figure Universe, what system is that on? Or is that a mobile game? Or is that on like online only computer? Is that, just let us know. And then STO Star Trek Online. Yes. So I guess drop your name tags. We'll all join the fleet. Johanna says, I wish they gave the Defiant better stats in Star Trek Online. Well, so everybody's playing Star Trek Online. Am I the only idiot?
Just the cannons. The cannons are the way to go. You just get, I mean, I do like I think I have 4 cannons, and then I do rapid fire, like level 3 rapid fire. It's insane. Like, wow. Like the DPS is crazy.
Is it like difficult?
And nobody knows what I'm talking about. What?
No, I have a feeling everybody in this chat room knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Is it a hard game to level up?
No. In the very beginning, not at all.
Oh, wow.
It's because they try to bring you onto it. The thing is, I have a DPS of 2.
Thanks. I don't know what that means.
The problem is now is that it takes me so long to log in, and between sessions, I get so many. It's like the veteran rewards, like keep scrolling up the screen,
Oh,
and I got to wait a while, but I wish they get better stats in
okay.
STO.
Joanna says,
Okay.
I wish they gave better
Yeah.
the Defiant better STOs. I rocked the carriers more.
Yeah.
Having all the pets rocking a ton of damage along with the cannons is
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. It's the phaser cannons all, pointing forward with rapid fire. That's going to get you like a really impressive result.
Okay. Star Trek Resurgence is
All
available in all gaming systems. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go
Okay.
dust off my Xbox and go see if I can not download that. If you guys have Xbox, you can add me. Let me look it up. Hopefully, it doesn't like start playing the Xbox theme because I have an app, and I'm pretty sure my Xbox. This is amazing live. My hang tag, Captain J Dove on Xbox. Captain J Dove. You can add me on Xbox. If you are a captain. This is not a perk of Patreon. It's just a freebie. I only got one other friend. You can add me on Xbox, and you can totally. Oh, sweet. I'll add you on Xbox. Sweet. Add me on Xbox, and then I'll download that game, and we'll. You can teach me how to play it. Joanna says, same. I have the Gem Hadar carrier rocking 2 front cannons along with the pets.
See, exactly. That's the front facing phaser cannons are just like,
the bomb, apparently.
Yeah, no, they're totally it. And if you can get, a crew member that has rapid fire, it's the amount of damage you can do. It's just that, you got to swing around and face your target. The other ships, if you have like phaser arrays, sometimes you don't necessarily need to be facing your target. You can be arcing away from them and fire because you have a phaser strip. With the cannons, you have to be heading straight ahead, but because you're a Defiant class, you're more maneuverable. So it's kind of like, you come around in an arc, aim straight ahead, and just like fire everything all at once. It can be spectacular. if you time it just
sounds
right.
more exciting than the Inner Light, that's for sure. No, I can't wait to play it. I will be firing up my Xbox because I'm actually gonna have a day to myself mostly tomorrow. That's gonna be a rarity, and
I can't believe you say this about the Inner Light. You're killing me.
Imagine if Patrick Stewart calls in. Listen, this is Captain Picard. The Inner Light's one of the greatest episodes ever. No,
myself and Sir Ian McKellen spent hours rehearsing.
So Chris, this is not true. You may not have an Xbox, but you always have a friend in the Captain Squadron. That is 100% true. And Joanna says, unfortunately, I don't have an Xbox. However, I do have an original NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, N64, PS1 through 5. Good Lord. And my
all
PC.
PSs.
Wow.
Join the club of all PSs.
Wow. No, I don't know. I'm an Xbox guy because you could mod Xbox. Are you a bat, Ken?
What?
Is that a Star Trek Online thing?
I'm not sure what that's. Yeah, you got me with that one.
Chris, can you explain?
I am Batman.
I am Batman. I am the Batman. All right. Let me just say.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I need that.
Oh, see, yeah, no, was it? So he said, I thought it was a term on STO.
It might be. I haven't I haven't gone on in like a year and a half.
Oh wow. Can mod PlayStations as well. Didn't know that. I knew somebody that modded my Xbox, and on my Xbox,
my PS1 was. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, on my Xbox, I had SNE, I had ColecoVision, so I had ColecoVision, Atari, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Neo Geo, and then PlayStation, all the way to PlayStation 1, so N64. I got to play Bond again. It was a blast.
I just remember I brought my.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I just remember I brought my PS1 to the city, and they modded it, and then I could play Japanese games.
Oh, that's dope. It's supposed to be someone who flies in fast and destroys stuff fast.
A bat.
That's a bat. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's what is it? Leroy Jenkins? Leroy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There we go. Wow, lots of fun. Like I said, friends, feel free next week. Jason Roy Gaston returns. Feel free to call in. The number again is 347-565-5375. Call in, say hi, tell us about your allergies. We don't care. Just come on in and call. It's worth it. My Commodore 64 fully stopped working, so I can't say I have that anymore.
Okay, so I wrote my college entrance essay on a Commodore 64.
Wow. Deep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Ken, for joining us. This has been a very fun episode of the Captain's Quadrant. We learned so much about everyone that hangs out with us every week, and we learned more stuff about me and my not being a fan of the recorder episode. So we will be back next week to talk the next episode of Star Trek with Jason Roy Gaston. I will text him and let him know what we're dealing with. And I don't know, not such a great episode if I recall. I do enjoy with the Whippet. I just kind of maybe I'll do a thing where I'm playing Whippet to when the Ferengis hit him. Whip it good, you know. I'll do that.
There was so
Patreon
many
first.
problems with those whips. I mean, it just the concept was awesome, and then where it doesn't retract. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just felt wrong.
There was a lot.
It
wrong.
felt there was a lot wrong in the first season of Next Generation.
A lot
I
wrong
will
in the
say.
first season of every Star Trek. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this baby up. We will see you guys next week. Jason Roy Gaston returns. We're gonna be talking about The Last Outpost. We're gonna be talking about some things that are coming up. We're gonna have some surprises. So hopefully by next week we'll have something solidified and we'll let you know on the Patreon, and then we will let everybody else in the universe know. So be sure to become a Patreon. Even at the free level, we're going to let you know about what's going on first. So without further ado, please thank our patrons again, and we are signing off.
We honor our Patreons.
Hollymac79, Johannes Borg, Chris Katulka, Denise Hill,
You've made it through the Agony Booth, a Captain's Quadrant show. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you share this video with 5 people will also be in agony. Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. EST for more live shows, including Wormholes, Section 31 and a half, because we have questions, and At the Movies,